Welcome back, Bravehearts. Yes, today we are going to be talking about medical mafia. Yeah, isn't it something to think that our healthcare is based on only medical care, which has nothing to do with healthcare, and it's absolutely normal for people to go, okay? But it's not natural. There is nothing natural about healthcare today. And there's nothing natural about the way that people think today. Oh, they think they're normal by going to the doctor. But understand something, medical care is 911 emergency care. And if you use medical care as your health care, then you are a 911 emergency, and you always will be. And you don't even know that you got sucker punched and you are being milked for your money and you're being sold off by the pound. And tell me that's not true. Tell me that 92% of the population doesn't have an autoimmune disease, that 1 out of 2 people don't die of cancer. Tell me that 1 out of 2 people don't die of heart disease. Tell me that it's normal that 80% of the population is overweight and even obese. Understand something, all disease can be turned around, but you're gonna have to be natural, not normal. Because what's normal today is abnormal. And understand this, the medical system is not based on unconditional love, self-care. And until it is, then it's not healthcare. So let's begin, medical mafia. And I'd like to just start off by buyer beware or buyer be dead. What I'm about to tell you is the greatest unhealth story ever told. And actually, it's hardly ever been told, and they don't want it ever to be told. In my opinion, the medical industry is nothing short of a church filled with health mysteries, illusions, and unanswered questions. This in itself leaves most people living in fear of their lives, not just day to day, but moment to moment, doubting their own ability to master their mind, their health, and their well-being on all levels. Let's talk about fear. The definition of fear, which they know how to play greatly, that's all they serve. They serve fear out to everyone on a daily basis, intentionally. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. The American Medical Association has made all medical doctors the equivalent of high priests, which leaves the majority of the population left to believe that only doctors hold the answers and the power to heal. The power to heal is inside of everyone. It is God's greatest gift. Understand something. The foundation on which medical health is based is absent of logic and is disempowering for those who do not question its self-ordained authority. And understand something, when you allow another human being to have authority over you, then you will never own your life. You will be everyone else, doing everything else for the rest of your life. I don't think people realize that traditional medicine such as Chinese, Ayurvedic medicine has been in use for over 3,000 years, while modern medicine has only been around for a little more than 100 years. Really? Absolutely. People have been using cleansing herbal teas and dietary remedies since the beginning of recorded history. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about thousands of years of proven and effective therapies that work in harmony with the human body without dangerous side effects. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, stated, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." Let me just say this. If it wasn't for the subconscious being 90% of your brain, and also that you are a sleepwalker or unconscious of the fact that you must be the master of your brain, you must put the prominent, dominant thoughts in your brain, but you haven't. For the majority of the population, it hasn't happened because why would 92% of the population have an autoimmune disease? Because we have been programmed to attack ourselves, first emotionally and then physically. The reality today is that the MD emperors who created this new reality are only interested in money and power to control the fate of our health. No, to control the fate of our life. Why do I say this? Well, in order to fully comprehend and understand the current rules and guidelines that our medical system follows in the United States and Canada today, we must turn the clock back 100 years to the beginning of the 20th century in order to get a clear picture of the plot to end natural health and self-healing and self-love and self-care. The year I'm talking about is 1900. And the American Medical Association, known as the AMA, is weak, unorganized, and has very little money and very little respect from the majority of the population. You may not know this, but guess what? Before I was called the quack, they were called the quack. The population back then would call the medical system quacks. And then they reversed it. Understand something. Herbalists, homeopathic doctors, and chiropractors were the therapists of choice at this time and flourished, while medical doctors were struggling just to make a living. For the AMA to survive, what was known to be the Council on Medical Education was established in 1904. They stated that their mission was to upgrade medical education. This in itself was a noble goal, if it were true at all. However, the Council on Medical Education had actually devised a plan otherwise known as the Evil Plot. There's a good name, eh? To rank all the medical schools throughout the country. Their guidelines were dubious, to say the least. For instance, just having the word homeopathic in the name of a medical school reduced its ranking because the AMA asserted that these schools taught an exclusive dogma. Otherwise, all viable competition became the target. Otherwise, they were now on the hit list. However, by 1910, the AMA was out of money and didn't have the funds to complete their makeover, or should I say, their takeover. Around this time, the Rockefellers had joined forces with the Carnegie Foundation to create an education fund. They were approached by N.P. Colwell, who was the secretary of the Council on Medical Education. His request to them was to finish the takeover of the health industry that they had started. Rockefeller and Carnegie both agreed to finish what the AMA could not. Simon Flexner, who was on the board of directors for the Rockefeller Institute, proposed that his brother, Abraham Flexner, who knew nothing about medicine, be hired for the project. I mean, this story gets deeper and more twisted. Despite his lack of medical knowledge, the plan was to restructure the AMA, otherwise the American Medical Association, to certify medical schools based solely upon Flexner's recommendations. Eventually, Flexner submitted his report to the Carnegie Foundation entitled Medical Education in the United States and Canada, which is also known as the Flexner Report. Not surprisingly, the basis of the report was that it was far too easy to start a medical school and that most medical schools were not teaching sound medicine. Let me translate this for you. These natural health colleges were not pushing enough chemical drugs manufactured by, guess who? The companies owned by Carnegie and Rockefeller. So to make a long story short, the AMA, who were evaluating, or should I say discriminating, the various medical colleges, made it their job to target and shut down the larger respected homeopathic colleges. In 1910, the Flexner Report recommended strengthening medical courses in pharmacology, otherwise drugs, and in addition to this, they established drug research departments at all schools that they deemed to be qualified. Carnegie and Rockefeller began to immediately shower hundreds of millions of dollars on those medical schools that were teaching drug-intensive medicine. Predictably, those schools that held the financing churned out the better doctors, or should I say, the more recognized program doctors. In return for the financing, the schools were required to continue teaching course material that was exclusively drug-oriented, with no emphasis on natural medicine. I love when a plan comes together, don't you? As we all know, when it comes to free money, there are always strings attached. In this case, the Rockefellers and Carnegies were more than happy to place one of their guys, cronies, on the board of directors at each and every medical school that accepted their bribe. The end result was that all accredited medical schools became heavily oriented toward drugs and drug research. It was no longer normal to be natural. Health now had become patented and synthetic. By 1923, the 22 homeopathic medical schools that flourished in the 1900s dwindled to just two. By 1925, over 10,000 herbalists were out of business. By 1940, over 1,500 chiropractors would be prosecuted for practicing quackery. By 1950, all schools teaching homeopathy were closed. In the end, if a physician did not graduate from a Flexner-approved medical school and receive an MD degree, then he or she could not find a job. This is why today, MDs are so heavily biased towards synthetic drug therapy and know little about nutrition, if anything. They don't even study what makes a healthy body. They study disease, or should I say, they study from death backwards. Modern doctors are taught virtually nothing about nutrition, gentle daily cleansing, wellness, or disease prevention, and forget about emotions. Forget about how thoughts control everything. Forget about the greatest medical science quote in the world, E equals MC squared, energy creates mass. Forget about really empowering the public. Expecting a medical doctor to guide you on health issues is sort of like expecting your butcher to perform surgery on you. It's simply not an area in which they have been trained. So I am not trying to pick on them, but the reality is why would you get into healthcare and not into real health? Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you only go to drugs and chemicals when on one hand, we can go and get the ones they want us to buy, but then on the other hand, the drugs on the street are dangerous, but the ones in the pharmacy aren't? Since the Flexner Report was released, have we seen any progress? 100 years ago, if a medical doctor saw a case of cancer, he would call on his colleagues, and over 100 miles away, because he felt that they may never see this again, since cancer was so rare back then. Diabetes was practically unheard of. Atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, was non-existent, and the term heart attack hadn't even been coined yet. Are you getting this, everyone? Are you getting this? Do you see who created this evil plot? Do you see who's actually creating dis-ease within us? Whenever a doctor cannot do good, he must be kept from doing harm. This is from Hippocrates, the father of medicine, which is rolling over in his grave right about now, because guess what? The only thing that remains of Hippocrates is the hypocrite. Today, cancer is an epidemic. According to the WHO, in a study in 2010, 41% of the people alive today will face a diagnosis of the big C. And that number was pre-Fukushima. That number is actually 12 years ago. So do you know where we are right now? We are in the midst of an inflammation nation. Do you understand that heart disease is rampant and diabetes is at epidemic proportions? Infant mortality is up. Birth defects are up. More women are losing their babies basically because we're rotten to the core. And this is the doing of those that we trusted and said that they were going to take care of healthcare. Even closer to home, over 80% of North American adults are overweight. And guess what? 40% are obese. 1 out of every 4 children are obese. I hope you're getting this. So understand, none of this occurred until the AMA came in. So what did our great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers eat? Well, for one thing, understand something. They didn't need the word organic because things weren't full of chemicals. So wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to buy organic, we just bought healthy? So right off the bat, know this, that they ate fresh organic vegetables, fresh organic fruits, fresh organic bread from fresh organic grains, meat, butter, cheese from grass-fed cows, and eggs from free-range chickens. Look, none of it was processed with drugs, chemicals, or additives. If you don't want to believe this or get this, that there is an evil entity force on this planet that is feeding us toxic waste, that is getting us to believe that being unhealthy is as good as it gets, then you are not even awake. Here's an example I'd like to tell you. Let's talk about the Amish children. They are remarkably immune to allergies, says an expert. The Amish, it seems, place themselves at risk every day of their lives. They refuse to vaccinate their children, exposing themselves to disease, and they drink raw cow's milk, exposing themselves to salmonella. They even, and this is really disturbing, favor natural food, yet they are far more healthy. What's up with that? Until the majority of the population is more interested in being than having, we will remain primitive and feed off each other's pain and suffering for the power of money. Love is the only answer, but honestly, self-love is the only cure. And ignorance is bringing us chaos because we are not waking up to the fact that we are being ruled, schooled, and fooled. When the innocent are unable to make logical decisions, they become prey to the predator. Our government and medical system is a direct reflection of the self-worth of the majority of the population. And most people do not want to hear this, but it's the truth. Take a look at our government, how corrupt they are, and that's how corrupt the majority of the population is on an emotional and physical level. We get what we get because we do not demand better for ourselves, from ourselves. Until we truly become self-centered and look within, doing loving acts for ourselves and others, we will never claim our universal right, this being the true joy of living. You need to get this. Self-care, self-love, unconditional love for oneself, being in the present moment and owning it, making high vibrational decisions on what we think, drink, and eat. Why is a whole plant-based diet and gentle daily cleansing not taught by those who we've entrusted with our healthcare? This information would create individual self-empowerment and an economic crash that we desperately need. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that 80% of oncologists, when asked, would not give the standard medical treatments for cancer to their family or themselves, which they give to their patients? Let logic prevail. A 2.3% survival rate after 5 years is not successful. Last time I checked, 2.3% was considered a failure, and that's why. Would you take your car to, let's say, a mechanic and he says there's a 2.3 chance I can fix it? Would you go to someone with your finances and they'll say there's a 2.3 chance that I'll make you money? What is all this health mystery? First, let's be perfectly honest. Medical doctors treat symptoms. End of story. Our fear and confusion comes because doctors talk about our symptoms using Greek terminology, which makes us feel helpless and vulnerable, causing communication breakdown and dis-ease within us. And understand something, they talk Greek. Why would you talk Greek and make it hard for people to understand? Because if you were to talk normal to people and actually explain things like you should, they'd say, hey, I got this. I get it. I'm infected. because I don't eat right. I don't think right. I don't drink right. So now I'm infected. So now I've got inflammation. So inflammation causes scar tissue formation. It causes displaced calcium. It causes crystallization. It even causes mutation. So that means I got to go back to what I'm drinking, thinking, and eating. Thank you very much. I'm out of here. If we can't even understand what the condition, otherwise the symptom, even means, then how can we even begin to heal ourselves? Understand something, everybody. Nobody understands health. Health is a language. And to be healthy, you've got to understand it. This is why we have what we call the Perfect Lifestyle Consultation. We charge $150 for lifetime support. We give you an hour audio the first time that is all about creating the perfect day from the minute you rise until you close your eyes. And then we're going to answer every question you have until you understand the language of self-care and self-love. This is the only way we can change this world. You must become the master of your body. You must become the practitioner you're looking for, because there is a genius in all of us. Look at, let's get back to this Greek thing. Some examples are this: polymyalgia. Poly means many. My means muscle. Algia means pain, which means you have pain in many muscles. This is not a disease. Then we become backed up with toxins. The body stores these toxins in the muscles to protect our vital organs. Fibromyalgia. Fibro means fiber. My means muscle. Algia means pain. This means you have fiber muscle pain. This is not a disease. This is pain that moves throughout the body due to inflammation created by a toxic lifestyle. Arthritis. Arthro means joint. Okay? Itis means inflammation. This means you have inflammation in your joints. This is not a disease. This is inflammation due to acidosis, which is also not a disease, but a symptom of an incorrect lifestyle. Colitis. Col means colon. Itis means inflammation. This means that you have inflammation in your colon. That's it. And that's because you have infection. And you have infection because you have stagnation and putrefaction. This is not a disease. This is a plumbing problem where the body's sewage system has become a cesspool. I don't think you will die from this, although it sounds like you could. I think you get the point. There are hundreds of other symptoms that have been given hard to understand names that can leave you feeling helpless, hopeless, and living in fear. But isn't that the point? For every new toxic symptom that we experience, our medical system will create a brand new disease with another breakthrough drug to suppress the symptoms. A pill for every ill, dumbed down and drugged out. Understand this: when treating symptoms is the focal point of your healthcare, you will be lost and forever in pain. Have you ever noticed when we make pain the enemy and run from it? We're always in it. Symptoms are your body's communication, guiding you to the truth. Shutting down symptoms by using drugs is breaking communication with your body. It's a partnership. As in a marriage, you may end up with a divorce, whereas with your body, you're sure to get a disease or you're going to end up dying prematurely. People will wake up to their own innate healing ability when they can no longer stand this maze of pain, fear, and confusion created by the status quo. We are what we think, say, and do. If you live your life and measure the state of your health by the average normal person today, then you have signed up for a life sentence that will only end up in pain and suffering, and you will break down on all levels, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Release yourself from the invisible bonds of fear and illusion. We must filter the information that does not serve or support our health vision. We must protect ourselves from the system and also from ourselves until we wake up and create dominant, prominent beliefs based on natural healing, not normal healing, because normal healing is abnormal. Place your focus on the most important system, this being your digestive system. We will never do better until we know better. Refuse to be spoon-fed. Educate before you medicate. Start keeping a health evidence journal. Become centered in yourself. I did not say self-centered. I said centered in yourself. If you're not going to make you a priority, then there's no way out of this. You are the only true navigator of your body, and only the body heals. We must learn how to protect ourselves from ourselves and from those that wish to make money from our lack of wisdom. Please do not forget that you were created by your Creator to create the most amazing life. Take back your power and create that which is your universal right. Great health, amazing health. Be the cure that you search for. Be the practitioner that you search for. Understand something. Search for your authentic self, because your authentic self is unconditional love, unconditional self-care. You must love yourself first and foremost before anyone else or anything else on this planet, so that you can become the light for your family and help guide them out of this darkness. Look, if you've always wanted to be a practitioner, or you're a practitioner and you want to bring your professionalism to a higher level, please go to www.newworldpractitioner.com. And if you're a family or a couple, or you want to just learn how to do our Wolfe Non-Surgical, how to learn to emotionally and physically, nutritionally look after yourself, check this out. www.personaltreatmentandtraining.com. And for those of you who want to take your life back, I have an online course, and this online course is called Healthy to 100. So go to www.healthy to100live.com, and that is a 3-day training. And with this, we'll give you a money-back guarantee that this 3-day training will change your life for the rest of your life. So from me to you, understand this. Until we learn to love and care for ourselves and truly for each other, this corruption on all levels will never end. So from now on, we are going to go in with both eyes open, with our heart open, and know that we deserve to be healthy on all levels. God bless, and thanks for joining me. Good day, I'm Dr. Darryl Wolfe. Do you know why you or your friends or your family are struggling with their health? Well, because they've never been given a strategy. And every time they go to see a health practitioner, whether it's medical or natural, all they're doing is getting Band-Aids. What if we were able to create a strategy that you could create the perfect day from the minute you woke up until you went to bed, and then we continue to guide and support you along your journey as you grow, your program grows? And what if you only paid one price, and you had unlimited support and guidance for the rest of your life? That's called the Perfect Day Consultation. So what is a New World Practitioner? Well, a New World Practitioner is somebody that understands that training comes before treatment.
Have I noticed any changes in myself since taking this course? Oh, yes. Yes, I have. I definitely have.
There's so much more ahead of you, and there's so much more that you can find within yourself, and there's so much that you can let go of to free yourself. And I'm excited to be able to help others find their power.
It's not a treatment. It's like a restoration. You can renew your body. And I didn't understand what was preventing me from healing.
I guess this is where I kind of get emotional, because Daryl truly cares, not only for himself, but humanity in general, and he wants to educate people to live their best lives and learn to love themselves first before anybody else.
The Whole Life Coach certification. We go deeper in that 8 days than anybody else goes when it comes to learning how the invisible creates the physical, the psychological creates the biological. And we teach you about energy medicine and about vibration and frequency because that's all it is.
He really cares for everybody. He wants to educate as many people as he can, their own healers / practitioners. He wants to get the knowledge out.
Dr. Wolfe and the whole crew, Sage and his bodywork techniques, learning it, everybody here has just been so incredible. They're so supportive. It's been a really cool experience.
I've seen nothing but incredible results day after day, hour by hour, while they work on people who get finally the effect and result that they've looked for everywhere else and never got. So they're amazing, amazing.
On a daily thing, I'm becoming more flexible and more pain-free. It's a process of treatments because of the damage I've done to my body. But yeah, I expect to be doing backflips. You know, I'm 64 years old. I'll be doing backflips.
When it comes to the Wolfe Non-Surgical certification, nobody can pull fibroids apart or reverse joint, muscle, tendon, ligament problems or scar tissue from surgery quicker than we can, and we offer a money-back guarantee to all our patients. Now, why would we do that? Because we pull off the I am possible and we reverse the irreversible.
They're so professional, yet so fun. They know how to push you to your limit. They encourage you, so it's all positive training, and really every one of them has a piece that they offer to the business, and they don't miss things. They let you go to the next level.
To use my love and light to be in service of others. And that's part of healing, right? Where as my elbow is connecting to that skin, you know, I'm delivering my frequency to the person that's seeking that work, you know, because I will always have that love and light inside me.
And a New World practitioner understands that you can't give what you're not. So until you understand that unconditional love and care for oneself is what you need to become so that you can give that to your patients, don't expect a different outcome than every other practitioner out there. And that's what we teach here, because you need to become what you want to see in all of your patients.